Alright, hopefully I can do this right in the second take and not a third or a fourth. I'm in a different spot than normal though, and the lighting is a little bit different and stuff, but hopefully you can still see this pretty well. So we're going to start with making a circle, kind of like this. Exactly like that. And then we're going to add a neck, which, again, is kind of weird, but Spike, being kind of a human shaped and stuff, I don't know, I feel like it's going to be a lot different than how we would normally sculpt Sonic or Mario or something. So just like I did in my human body clay tutorial, we're going to take that little long piece that I was kind of just making and put it on the back of the head and kind of, push it together. Also note the size. Once again, you guys can sculpt this any size you want, but I think one of the reasons as well why my spike from last week didn't look that good is because of the size, and I again scaled it up when I didn't mean to. So hopefully by sculpting a smaller size, I'll be able to get better kind of detail and stuff in, and it'll look better overall. So kind of just connect that like that, so there's no seam around kind of the top of the head, but you still have kind of a chin piece to work with. Spike's head is kind of long, so you can kind of make it long as well. Alright, cool. So there is our Spike head right now. I'm going to leave it like that. Now we're going to move on to the hair. Kind of going to jump right to the hair. Another reason why I think Spike is so difficult is because some of the techniques and stuff that you have to kind of use, or that I rather have to replicate, because I'm kind of basing it loosely off of, if I can get him, this guy, in terms of the techniques and stuff, how I did the hair and certain things like that. I'm not sure if we're going to do this kind of baggy effect with the clothing, because I'm not sure if it's really going to be needed for this model, but yeah, that's what's going on with that. Alright, hope I have toothpicks here. Good, I do have toothpicks here. So we're going to make an oval shape like this and put it on the back of his head. Kind of like that. I don't want it too big. I think this is a really good size, because before what I was doing is making it, a lot bigger than this, and it turned out really bad when I put the front on. So about this size is pretty good, and a really good way to tell is if you put it down here, this, back of the hairpiece, and then kind of pull down, like, the back of his head. That should be about where it is, so that it looks kind of normal from that side. It was about this time a couple tries ago that I needed to blow my nose, so got my tissues this time, so haha, I don't need to stop the camera or anything. Yeah, I kind of messed up a couple times before this recording, like tonight, but hey, we're going good so far. So all right, that was the front or the back of the head, and now we're gonna do the same thing for the front. You should probably make it about the same thickness, I would say. So maybe like that, and then we're going to place it over the top of the head, probably maybe about a fourth to a half, kind of from the top of the head to, I would say maybe the forehead is a pretty good spot to kind of, put it over the head. And then we're simply going to kind of pinch this together, the seam right in the hair. Like that. So this is what we have so far. Now I'm kind of just going to, I need my other Spike to kind of see how I did this. I haven't sculpted Spike in a long time, nonetheless any anime clay model, as I've kind of been telling people who have been asking me, although I keep forgetting about Shizuo, that Shizuo one that I made, which was actually, I believe, 2000, I think I sculpted it in 2011 and finished it at the beginning of 2012, so that was still a while ago. But I'm just trying to, alright, I think I got it. So, with that said, I'm just kind of going to sculpt a little bit better, like that, and before we start adding toothpick detail, I have no place to put the Spike now, we're going to add hair to the top of his head and sideburns, kind of, just so we can kind of get that out of the way. So really small piece of clay, put it right where kind of his ear would be, and essentially just drag up, and then kind of pull down. Might be a little too thick. Don't want it too thick. You don't want it to like kind of protrude from his head really, really strange. I would say maybe something like that is good. Then we'll do it again on the other side in the exact same way. Like that. So we have something like that. And I don't know why this lighting isn't the best. Like I said, a couple takes before, I was getting pretty good lighting with minimal shadowing. So I don't know what the problem is. I thought this would be a little bit better than kind of that orange at night tone, because it actually is nighttime right now. So it's not like I have the sunlight. Not that I would have had sunlight anyway, because it was raining nearly all day, even though it wasn't supposed to, weather aside. So the ear, little small piece of peach, and then just put it right behind, kind of where the sideward is. You can kind of just tuck it in there, I guess. You know what? You're not really going to see any of the seam because we have the hair blocking it, so. And the same for the other side. Right there. Might be a little too small. I thought I was going to be able to make it with the rest of that. Alright, so here we go, and we got that. Here we go. So aside from the fact that I just dropped it, I think this is a pretty good start, I will say. Just kind of going to fix the hair a little bit. Alright. So now here's the more difficult part, and I'm unsure about if I want to kind of do the toothpick thing now or after. I think I'm going to do it after, actually, so maybe this part isn't so difficult right now. We're going to add the hair to the front of his head, which again, just like we did with the sideburns, it's a really small kind of thin piece, which you can barely even see on my finger, and I just dropped it, but you know, right there. And then we're going to put it, you know, right on his head, kind of, like that. And you can kind of put it any sort of way, because I think Spike's hair is generally just kind of wavy, and, you know, doesn't really have, you know, like a really, like a right way to do it. So I'm just going to kind of do that all the way around. See, I got another one in there. Don't make them too long, though, but make them long enough so they're, you know, so they're, like, they can be seen. And you can add more or less or whatever. Thin, thick. I mean, I don't want to give you guys too much creative freedom or whatever the term is called. But, you know, I mean, Spike's hair is kind of wild anyway, so it's not like there's a really, like, a right way to do it. Like, if we were sculpting Sonic, you know, the certain way to make the spikes. And especially because I'm sculpting this small, you know, I didn't need to use as many as if you guys were sculpting it bigger, say. But, with that said, I think this is pretty good. Like that. And what we can do too with, let me get a toothpick. With this toothpick method thing is you can even kind of maybe use a toothpick and slice the little hair on the front of his forehead in half, which adds more kind of pieces and makes it actually look a little bit more authentic in terms of hair. I actually recommend you do that. So you might want to make them a little bit thicker. But yeah, that's that. Hope you guys can see that. I'm not liking the lighting, but that's that. And now to kind of finish the hair, I guess, we're going to do this. Let me zoom in. Alright. So we're going to take our toothpick and kind of slice diagonally the hair. So we get a little piece like that. We're going to do that all the way around with kind of varying degrees of thickness and shape. more or less. I guess I should say you don't want the cuts too thick, but you want them thick enough so they can be seen. Maybe a little bit smaller, actually. So I might cut the cuts in half, as we did with the top of the forehead, and the hair there. So see what I'm doing? I'm kind of just creating this effect that makes his hair kind of wild, as I said. He kind of has in terms of the hair. So I found out that when I was sculpting the one that I showed at the beginning of the video, or well, not the one I messed up on, but the actual real good model that I showed at the beginning of this part. That's what I did for it. Sorry I'm not in the camera, but so as we started from this side, we kind of cut this way, and then as we get more toward this part of his hair, I kind of cut upward. And then again, you can kind of just, play. You can kind of just play with it and see how it looks, but I would say something like that looks pretty good. And then his hair is kind of slanted to one side, so I'd slant his hair kind of upward, and you can kind of curve up some of the indents we made, kind of like that. And then the last part to the hair is taking a toothpick and kind of just lightly going along this direction with the pattern of the hair. Again, it just kind of adds more of a hair effect. Just going that way, and then you can kind of brush some of the clay residue off. And I don't think I actually did it for the back. I don't think it really needs to be done for the back. But like that. So with that said, and after I clean up all these kind of stray pieces and zoom out simultaneously, we come to the end of part 1 and finish most of the head like that. So with that said, we're going to move on to the face and probably the start of the body next time, part 2, so stick around, you guys.